Hi everyone, you're listening to the Vialucci podcast, uncensored and completely unedited discussions about life and everything in it. We hope you enjoy the show.
And we are live. We are back.
Hello everybody.
We're back for episode 99.7.
Yeah, they're going to have to open up sooner or later because it's going to start getting a bit tight.
That's why we need to end lockdown, just so
We need to petition the government, yeah.
I need to lower my seat. I can't hear myself properly. I don't want to do that mic thing again. Yeah, so here we are, 99 point, what is it, 7?
99.7, yeah.
Hell well, 2021, baby. Yeah. Things have only got the same. Yeah.
So we've had it's one of those things you're going to talk about, isn't it? It's that year, the Trump and the Corona, both at the same time. God blimey! Hopefully it's the end of it, like him at least. I mean, we might be just
Yeah, you don't know. I mean,
if he starts his third part, if he doesn't go, see, it's a perfect storm of Trump being a thingy, and then you've got the Democrats who are specifically weak. So it's like, but they could just go, oh, we've got to pardon it, move forward, all that. If they start that, it'll go, right, oh, great. And then everyone else that's corrupt, that's in there waiting to go, will go, fantastic. Right, let's get going. Let's get them all going again because there's no crime. But the Democrats don't want to do anything. They hate doing anything to do with crime or arresting people. So he'll do anything.
Because you start arresting one of them.
They're all
for corruption. Then then you're gonna have to arrest everyone.
Well, that's why this is good for them. Because of the insurrection, that they can be like, oh, it's that, not because of corruption. We don't need to look at that. We need to
or even incompetence. Even incompetence.
But you think I'm even worried that even like an insurrection isn't enough to make. Do you know what I mean? Even that isn't enough. They're still going to think, how can we get out of this? How can we not get out?
The articles of impeachment we're recording on Sunday the 24th, so obviously it depends when you're listening to this. And then I believe the articles of impeachment are going through the Senate tomorrow, but they're not going to start the trial for, I believe,
till the 8th or something.
There's been a bit of toing and froing between Republicans and Democrats. The Republicans don't have, apart from obviously the rabid ones, don't have an issue with the trial per se, but they're just saying that it's too soon. And they're also saying, well, some of them are using it as a kind of bargaining chip of like, hey, wouldn't you rather focus on Biden's appointees to these various roles, because those have to be approved by the Senate.
Yeah.
So,
but the problem we're going to come back to, it's even with this, we've got to get our heads around the fact that both parties are attached to the donors, and it's what the donors say, that's where it's going. So you got the donors, then you got the Republicans and the Democrats behind them in terms of power. So it's like, it's nothing to do with Biden. It's what he gets told to say. He's not going to go against the whole of the system, but he might. But if this doesn't get in terms of impeachment, I still don't like the first impeachment did nothing. What is another impeachment? What does that do exactly? An impeachment?
Well, an impeachment means that if he's found guilty in the Senate, so he's already been. So basically, they have the lower and the higher chamber. Same like it's the equivalent of we have the House of Commons and then it has to go through the House of Lords before it actually becomes law. Yeah. So it's already passed through Congress because or the House of Representatives. Sorry, the whole thing is the Congress, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's gone through House of Representatives, which is the lower chamber. That was where there was still quite a lot of Republicans voting against it. However, they now think, in theory, in the Senate, you need a 2/3 majority. I think they need something like 17 Republicans. It might be less.
But yeah, they're going to have to get some Republicans to flip, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, what is the impeachment like? What?
So it's not a criminal case per se. It's a political thing. But it would mean if he's found guilty, it means he wouldn't be able to run for public office again. Mm-hmm. He would also be stripped of his perks as an ex-president. So he would lose.
This is all
civil,
nothing.
Secret Service protection.
And briefings. They get intelligence briefings.
They do, don't they? Yeah.
But you might as well say
to Russia.
It's a stain on your character. Do you know what I mean? This is nothing. This is
it's
such a big deal, the impeachment.
But it's quite an important thing if it does prevent him running from, because it means he couldn't even be a senator or a governor or any.
But he's not going to do that again. But this is the thing: he doesn't give a shit about politics and all that. He just wants power. So if he doesn't need politics, he's got his own base now. So all this hassle, all this big impeachment, I honestly think it's like this big thing's made up about it. So it seems like something big's happening. But if he doesn't go to jail, forget everything else. Forget he doesn't get to the thing and run for politics and the thing. That's irrelevant to him. It's just power. It may be
realistically, it's probably one of the only real checks on the executive branch that the legislative have in America. They don't really have too many ways to sort of stop.
Yeah, but this only works if you want to be a politician. He doesn't give a shit either way, mate. So this works for people that have.
I'd say he did because he didn't want to leave being president.
Yeah, but what I mean, now he's out. He doesn't need all that because that was just hassle for him. All that health care and all that. He doesn't give a shit about all that. If he's out and he doesn't have to go to jail, he's happy. So forget all the political. We not get to vote again and Senate. That doesn't matter. It's does he get charged with a crime and serve a punishment? Is there any punishment? Impeachment isn't punishment. He doesn't want it, but it's not in punishment to him.
I think it is a punishment for him.
Not for him.
No, it is. It's a public rebuke. It's saying it's basically being banned from.
Care.
It is. It's being banned from the biggest. I think
Yeah.
100% he cares because it's being barred from the biggest country club. Essentially, he's being barred publicly from the country club.
No, he doesn't
this is
like
a guy
it.
who's come from nothing. No, I think it means a lot to him. I think
this is a stain on his family's name.
No,
he's
I see what you mean.
Two-timed impeached president, honestly.
Yeah, but that's just an annoyance to him. If he's out and he can have his own channel, that's it. He's happy with that. He just wants a lot of people looking at him. He couldn't give. And I bet, as I said, with all the hassle he's had to go through with answering questions about politics and thing, he doesn't want any of that. He would be happy to have his own channel.
I think it's going to be difficult for him, starting this old channel with what? Who's going to sponsor it? Who's going to put ads on
they have had problems with the ads, and also Fox News, mate. Like they might go down. Like they're trying to sue them, like for hundreds of millions. That might close down Fox News if everything goes through.
Yeah, there's talks of a class action lawsuit saying you incited the riots.
But it's all chitter chat. Really? It's like, what can we not prosecute people for? And for everything that he's done, if nothing happens.
Well, this is early days. He's only been out of office for 3.5 days.
But it's just historically nothing ever happens.
Well, we don't know. But
and as I said, we've got the fact that they tried to charge the Capitol on our side, but I don't even trust that's enough.
But it's all very well saying, this isn't. But it's people don't go to jail, but people do sometimes go to jail for these things. Not often.
It's always low hanging fruit. It's always low hanging fruit.
But I mean, they got Capone for tax evasion, but I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Do you know what? So if they get
he's not part of the system, though. He's not part of that thing.
Well, he basically was.
But not now. He was tied to, because remember, he was tied to all donors and all that. He could say to everyone, "Fuck you," sod you lot. But if I'm going to jail, then I'm going to tell them bloody everything. So you better back me up.
I think that's why I think he'll cut a deal. He'll go to what they call Club Fed. He's a rich white man. He's not going to go to some supermax.
But he's not going to go to
prison with hair braided and tattoos on his face.
No, but you've got to think he's got the whole hair thing. His ego, he's fragile. Yeah. He can't go to any sort of confinement at all and be told what to do. He cannot do anything. Yeah, like that. His whole life has had a row of lawyers in front of him. And he mugshot
without any makeup and his hair done.
He'll die. It doesn't matter where it is.
He'll die inside. Yeah, certainly. I mean, I wonder if he would be afforded, because even if he's impeached as an ex-president, they might be like, all right, we'll let him fucking keep his suit on for the mugshot and we'll let him have his hair. I mean, because obviously when you get your mugshot, you are taken as you are.
But he won't see any of that.
They don't make you take your mugshot.
He will just see, I'm not going to jail of any kind. Forget it. You got to remember the life he has led. He cannot now be stripped bare of all that. No chance. He would die sooner than do that. Or go to Russia. as I've kept saying.
They won't ever let him get anywhere near
yeah, that's what I mean.
a trial or anything, because who
that's
knows
what I mean.
what the hell
Even a
he'd start
trial,
saying.
yeah. I don't
because
even
he literally knows where the bodies are buried.
Yeah,
He knows where he knows who killed people and where bodies are. You know what I mean?
He's the head of the Hydra. He's the thing at the top. The poison. He knows. He is everything. Not just that he knows everything. He is everything. So I don't think they will even allow him to step foot in court.
Just big head floating around.
Is that the eye in Lord of the Rings?
No, that's that big head in the Sean Connery film. Zardoz. Never mind. Don't watch Zardoz.
The seed is evil. Yeah.
Well, I saw the James Bond.
It spews guns at them. It's so that's one of the weirdest films I've ever seen. It's got Sean Connery in a pair of red pants and like a bandolier, two bandoliers.
Yeah, bandoliers. Yeah, with like thigh-high boots. And
and
a ponytail.
It's really.
I think it was one of his first things he did after he left Bond.
Maybe it's John Boorman as well. It's,
I'm
spectacular mess.
I'm liking how we derailed from the Trump thing. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it out there.
It's quite nice to derail from Trump.
I saw one of the because obviously I haven't seen like any James Bond since I was a kid, and I saw one a few months ago, just bits of it. And there was the one, I don't know what it was. Was there race horses? There's a guy with a white hair, like billionaire type fella.
Oh, that's
he's a well-known actor.
Yeah, Christopher Walken.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. What else have I seen him in? What else have I seen him in?
Max Shrek is his character.
Oh, but anyway, the bit he's coming down the stairs.
Christopher Walken, he's the guy.
He's a go-to baddie, isn't he? Yeah.
Like that. And
he's like a bit of an alien.
And Grace
he's in
Jones
Pulp
as well.
Fiction.
Yeah.
But in this one,
anyway,
they're walking down the stairs, and he's going to They're doing sort of puns. Obviously, as a kid, I had no idea what they were saying, and he's going to. The woman's going, "Oh, I love a good ride in the morning. What about you?" And he goes, I have to say I early riser myself. And I'm like, "Oh, hang on, what this was put out."
I'm going to go to your home and smash that.
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that James Bond.
Yeah.
I quite like your Roger Moore impression's quite good, Theo.
But it was sort of like out and out. Like, oh no, that he's literally anyone over the age of 20 went, oh right, he's being a pervert.
Yeah.
I'm an early riser myself. I go, oh my God, what the fuck?
And some of the names as well, they're like Fantastic Fanny and stuff.
Oh, no.
You're not even trying, you know?
You know the Golden Woman?
Which one?
The Golden Woman that's dead in gold.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any of them, by the way. I've only watched clips. Why is she gold?
It's because that's...
Is that a real woman?
So that was a real actress, I believe.
No, I mean, in the film. It's not a mannequin, gold man.
No. The idea is that they killed her by covering her in paint. It's something they made up. Right. It's basically skin suffocation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that can happen. You overheat.
Yeah, but not through, you need to be...
there's makeup.
Just being painted gold. Just spray painted.
Yeah, I mean, the actress survived. So that sort of tells you that... So why did they dip her in gold?
Kind of almost as a warning. It's like it's killing, but it's also the horse's head in the bed kind of warning.
Oh, it's
because she'd betrayed. She was working. Yeah, she was working for Goldfinger.
Goldfinger, right? Okay.
To Bond. So,
why is he called Goldfinger? Has he got a gold finger?
Because his name is Auric Goldfinger.
Yeah.
And he's
a bit on the nose. Yeah.
Although interestingly, his initials AG is the symbol for silver.
See, that's the other thing.
He's obsessed with gold.
I don't know a lot about the James Bond film, but it does remind me of the Muppets movies because everyone's no.
Whoa.
It's because everything is exaggerated. The names, the thing, everyone is he's evil because of his name. He looks like him because he's evil. And I think so when you say like the name, what was the Goldfinger name?
Auric Goldfinger.
Yeah, I just like it's like right, there you go.
They've all got Dr. No.
Could
he be the bad guy?
So in James Bond, was there actually a bloke who turns around with a cat and strokes it and says good evening?
There's
no, really?
That's Ernst Stavro Blofeld. Yeah.
I've got to write this down.
Blofeld, who in fact Ian Fleming claimed that was the kid that bullied him at school was Blofeld.
Oh right,
yeah. Because it's also isn't there Henry Blofeld, the commentator, I think, is related to the original Blofeld, I believe.
Oh,
I could be mistaken. The fictional Blofeld. BLO.
Yeah.
FELD.
What was the film? What was it?
Well,
golfing.
have you seen any? Yeah, they're in all the.
He's loads. He's a villain. He's a recurring villain in about.
So
I want the stroking cat scene. I want to see that. What film's that in?
That would be. I don't think you get that in Doctor No. You do in From Russia with Love.
What do you mean you do? Well, there's a couple of them.
Yeah, that was his. That was part of his thing. Was that?
Oh, right.
He's a recurring villain in about.
He's like Thanos. You know, he's across the thing. So, and in the same way that you see him fleetingly in the early films until the fifth.
I was in a shop the other day and I had my hood up.
Yeah,
this one, but it was not this one, but it's like all black. And I had the mask on, and somebody went. I don't know who it was. He said, "You look like the fella out of Star Wars." I don't know who. He said a character name.
Luke Skywalker.
No.
Oh, Kylo Ren.
I don't know.
Palpatine.
No, he said one of the, and I said, "What's that?" And he went, "Star Wars." So one of the group of people that has a big hood over their head.
Knights of Ren, Jedi, Sith.
Jedi.
No, he's saying like a type of people, mate. Oh, was it Jedi?
Inquisitor?
No,
Jawa?
I think it was Jedi.
Oh, Jawa.
That was it. Well, anyway,
a Jawa.
I forgot my point now.
be a
What was
Jawa.
we talking about? Star Wars.
We were talking about James Bond, very brief.
Yeah, but it was filmed. James Bond.
Pinballing about the place. We start with Trump, then we're on to James Bond. Now we're on to like.
It's
Jawa.
just nice to not be talking about Trump all the time.
Honestly, because I say it's been such a relief. I'm like, oh yeah, I feel like less stressed out watching the news, and like you're not just like every day you're like, oh, what's this idiot up to now? You know what I mean?
I was listening to remember we was talking about the James O'Brien. He's got a couple of audiobooks out. I was listening to them, and one's where he talks about being right, and the second one he brought out was a recent one. He talks about being wrong when people have actually convinced him of like, oh right, you know. And one was like a nurse that had tattoos, and he said, "Why? Tattoos are never going to be a good thing. You're not going to put tattoo babies." And the nurse come on and explain things, and he said at that point is when, and he doesn't play the what do you call it, the clip back. He has to get actors in for obviously copyright or whatever. So he plays it back for it and the speech of what happened. And he was I forgot what I was going to talk about. What was we?
Tattoos.
We were talking about James Bond and how not to be wrong, and then it was Trump and whether you were a Jawa.
No, you're going too far back. Is that a swear word?
It's James O'Brien. He's always goes on about. He goes, when the facts change, I change my mind.
Yeah, that's
what
common
do you
sense.
do, sir?
Yeah.
You know.
Oh well, anyway, I've completely forgotten what I was talking about now. I'm still knackered from pushing that.
This is a
car.
free podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll have to get that on loop. Hang on.
Yeah.
We need that as we need Alan Dedicote to come and how he does the announcements for other programs.
I can't remember the thing I was talking about. Well, anyway, talking of audiobooks, so I've gone through a few audiobooks, and I've got ready for the next one. I've taken a bit of a leap and a jump for this one, but I'm hoping it's going to provide some information. It might be like an ongoing thing. It's quite long, and it's the autobiography of William Shatner, read by himself.
Read by himself as well.
So I'm hoping this, and it's 10 hours. So I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of like egotistical sod them sort of.
It's probably about 150 pages long. He's just going to read it.
Yeah,
like
monosyllabic.
this.
Yeah. So that's queued up next. So there might be some little references to that on the next week's show.
I'm sure it'll be like Alan Partridge,
but without the irony. Yeah.
About people backstabbing, about people betraying him.
He's great. Nobody understands. Yeah. Oh, so I had the last laugh.
Needless to say, I had the last laugh.
Now that you say that, that's the sort of thing it will be. Nobody understands me. Everyone's wrong. Oh,
yeah. Feeling blue, Peter. Yeah. Needless to say, I had the last laugh. Yeah.
Oh God, I'm having a laughing sweat as I. What was I going to say?
Do you watch the inauguration? Yeah.
No, do you know what? I'm done with it. I'm done. Oh, hang on, that's what it was something to do with that. What was we talking about? Trump.
No. Okay.
Oh no, that was it. You've just looped it back.
Yeah.
Oh, well done. So this is the James O'Brien thing. My brain disconnected.
Here it is.
Okay. Right, here we go. Yeah.
Circuitously. So in the James O'Brien thing, he talks about people changing their mind, and he was talking about a friend of his who was actually quite right wing, who wasn't. And he turned out like he ended up sort of not talking to the guy because he just kept on going on about the Brexit and you don't understand. And he said, look, you've got to stop going on these bloody channels. And he's going, yeah, but you don't know this and you don't do that. And he said one day, he said his wife He said it was like really off-putting, like you couldn't be around him anymore. And he was a friend, he tried to talk to him, but he was just constantly doing this thing of, no, you're not watching the videos, you're not listening to what's going on, all that sort of stuff. And he said he saw his friend a few months later, and what had happened is his wife said to him, look, you're alienating everybody, you better stop going on, just knock all this off on the head or I'm going. So he said the laptop got put underneath the sofa. He said he saw him a few months later. He said he was a changed person. He said, do you know what it was? He said, I just stopped watching those stupid bloody videos. And he said, I put it under and I just felt better. And when you said that, he said, I felt 1,000 times better just from the relentless, just. So yeah, it is nice. When Trump pops up now, I've seen some videos when he was on his way out or whatever. I don't even watch them. It's just got to that point now. I don't need this. I don't need you whinging and moaning a bit. I don't need to see any more Republicans lying on his behalf. I don't need to see any Democrats talking about nothing. It's just like, oh, just do it. So, is he in jail or not? That's all I need to know. And it'll be not.
What's interesting is I think that they very quickly, literally since the inauguration, they've sort of quickly, it's turned into that mode. It's exactly the same stance that they took during the Obama years.
Like what?
Where they're like, oh, Democrats are evil. Everything they do is terrible. They're secretly plotting a communist takeover of. I'm hearing lots of rumors that apparently China has invaded across the Canadian border, and they've taken control of all the northern cities. That was a rumor going around about 2 days ago. You know what I mean? And what else? That actually China had taken over the internet completely in America. That Joe Biden's basically signed over everything to China and is a communist.
Have you seen the China thing? They've got a new policy out. It's what they call it, the clean plate policy. Apparently they're struggling with food, so this national thing's gone out where it's saying instead of eating for 3, you need to eat for 2. Like for 3 people, you need to eat the 2. It's called the clean plate policy. Andrew, can you Google it or something? I don't want to knock you, just so I don't get it wrong. Also, Australia's been in. I saw something about Australia and Google.
Yeah, because
but I didn't.
Australia,
really
they're asking that Google pay Australian news companies
to use their videos. Sort of.
Yeah, to use their content, and they're saying, well, no, that's not financially viable.
But why them? Out of anyone,
because they're the biggest search engine. I'm assuming they'll make it to other ones. But
I mean, why Australia? Why Australia?
Because that's just something they've decided.
Yeah, have they passed the law or
it seemed pretty serious. It didn't seem like they were messing about.
Because Google were threatening to pull out.
Who loses there? Because Google, they need a bit Australia. That's a big country.
Kind of, yeah.
But it's also for them. And this is something that the Australians have even challenged. They said, you're only threatening this because you don't want everyone else to do it. Because then, because if the whole world, they said, what are you going to do? Stop providing internet to the whole world.
Yeah, okay, right,
yeah. Because if everyone did that, like same thing with in America, they had I've forgotten the name of it, but they had a Proposition 240 or something like that, and like it was basically saying that. That platforms like YouTube and Facebook will become liable for people posting illegal content or libel as well. So if you posted, incorrect information, and like you could be sued, and so could Facebook.
It really is a thing. Whenever anything big happens, like saying the internet and social media and all that, it is the Wild West because. The laws just always a lag behind the big thing. Do you know what I mean? It's such a free-for-all with the internet and do this and freedom and rights and social media and say what you want. And it's like the laws just have to bloody well catch up. Again, we all need one email address. You all need one social media account. That's your face. It's so big now. Like your passport that you were showing up in the background before we went live, Charles. Yeah. It's all right. Only China saw it. The China plate thing, is it on? Have you found it?
So, yeah, it's they're denying that it's anything to do with food shortages, and the claim is that, I can, as someone of Chinese heritage, I can totally believe this, that because the Chinese order, the tradition is to always have more food than you need.
Oh.
Probably as a psyche from, trauma from the famine, so better to have more than you need. So... They're saying that the amount of food waste would be enough to feed somewhere between 30 to 50 million people. So it's to stop that. They're just saying,
to stop waste. It's not
essentially,
or anything.
So
well,
it's
sensible.
things like So it's things like when you go to a restaurant and there's 10 people, you can only order 9 dishes. They call it the N1 rule.
They're bringing it back into line.
Yeah, which is quite
normality.
sensible.
Yeah.
And there's things of which I think this one I thought was particularly good was that there's all these influencer type streamer TikTok losers. I mean, I don't think they have TikTok in China, whatever the equivalent is.
I think they do. Isn't it a Chinese company?
Oh yeah, that's true. No, you're right.
Say,
But it's just people like showing how much they can eat.
Oh,
like these these professional eaters in inverted commas.
And that's why people hate the West.
Yeah.
Or the East.
But I mean, China are getting that kind of that. But we've infected them with that.
Well, I tell you
what,
what,
China virus we gave us.
I saw again one of the worst things one of the big incidences over the last 5 years was being in a late night Tesco's and seeing them pour food into bin bags. Like, it stayed with me. And that night I had to walk past where I was living next to sheltered accommodation, where every morning you'd see somebody outside waiting to get in, like they've just been home. You could see how long they've been homeless for, depending on how many bags they had, sort of thing. And I saw it a couple of times, and then I saw it again like last week. I was in the shop and I saw them with the trays of the bakery stuff, pouring it into a big plastic pink bag, just pouring all the food in, tying up. Yeah. And that first one I saw, when I went to the car park at the back to get in, there was 4 other bags just full of food. That's one shop on one night. Now multiply that across the thing, and I thought, this is vile. Like, it made me feel like, I don't know, sick from anger. Like, who's in charge of this? And I saw it again the other day because I was in there late at night and I saw them putting all the buns, open buns that were on the silver trays, pushing them into a sack of food just to sling them out the back. And you just think, you're literally throwing away food. And then I can always see behind the curtain of everything. I'm thinking, what pile of food gets chucked away every single day if you're looking at it from the outside, and do that over a single year and then go, and those people are starving over there. And I can't get my head around like the society I live in. I can't, because there's too many things to, like, you don't know the lunacy that you live inside. But you just want to go, who's in charge of this? Who's in charge? Who's at the top?
No one, that's the problem.
Well, this is capitalism, isn't it?
This is why I worry about fascism.
It's very good at manufacturing and producing things. Yeah, it's just not very good at distributing them, basically, yeah.
But this is what you go, it might be like the China thing. It might say, look, you might have your ways of doing stuff, but when you've got this many people, mate, you need fascism. That's the only way you can keep this in line. I'm not saying I don't believe, but... No, but you know what I mean. It's like,
maybe not fascism, but maybe some regulation.
I know. I always feel like we need to bring Theo into a state of a happy medium.
No, I'm the opposite of fascism.
I'm not saying we need guns in the backs of people's heads.
Listen to me. I just said that we're banging it. I mean, somebody needs to go, I don't care about the red tape anymore. No, we're knocking all that on the head.
That's what needs to happen. It's not that. I mean. Part of it is there is always going to be some greedy fucker making the decision. Go, well, we've got all these bread rolls and we're always just throwing them away. Why don't we just take them to the nearest homeless shelter? Well, I mean, think about the profit margins of that who's taking it to that petrol? That's our drivers. We'll have to pay for that petrol. And if we do that, then people would deliberately not buy bread to get free bread because there's so many freeloaders. There's always going to be that person. We're going to burn it. Yeah, I mean, that person should be,
I was in Mark. I don't know if I said this before, in the Marks and Spencers. Whatever the petrol station was, and I bought some. It was like a pack of cakes. I can't remember which ones it was, but they're wrapped in something that was wrapped. And I scanned it because it was on discount. And she scanned it. She went, "Oh no, sorry, we can't sell that." And she threw it in the bin straight in front of me. And I felt my adrenaline going up like this. Of like, I was almost hoping that she was going to take it out and keep it for herself. Just to like, okay, she's just thieving it for herself. It did beep. I did saw it because it had no date. The date was wrong. So you've thrown something in the bin that was wrapped twice. I can't handle that, mate. There's people starving. I can't.
I worked, I won't say where this was, but I worked at a place for a while on and off. And at the end of the day, we used to end up throwing away literally huge bags and bags of leftover food, even after all the staff had picked, taken armfuls of stuff, because they were like, it's leftover, you can take it, it's fine, take as much as you want. Even after that, there were still bags and bags and bags of it. And I was talking to some of the supervisors, and I was just like, we all felt really bad about doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially like in the local area as well. Like there's a lot of homeless people. It's on the rise. It's a real issue. It's in Reading. It's a real issue. And like I remember, we eventually got the manager down, had a chat with him, saying, "Is there anything we could do about this? Yeah, can we get? I mean, not even could we get a shelter to come pick it up? You know what I mean? Is there someone, a volunteer, to come pick it up?" And he said, basically, we can't guarantee that the food's okay. Yeah. Because it's not been it's X many hours old now, and it's been in the hot shelf or the hot cupboard or whatever. So we can't really guarantee. And by the time it gets to a place, it might not be 100%, and we don't want to. We might be liable, basically, and we don't want to make people ill. So they said, unfortunately, we can't, and we do acknowledge that. But what they did do instead is they started collecting it for biofuel. Apparently,
I mean, it's something. Yeah.
It's something. At least it's not going in landfill,
But even that's not done on an industrial side. But I'd understand certain foods, meat, okay, but bread rolls, donuts. At least, so if I came into power and say, right, at least this is what we're going to do. All that food, the bread food, or we'll make lists of stuff that isn't going to. It's not prawns. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be frozen. All that stuff has a 24-hour. Can be used by charity. It's bread. You've got 24 hours to do what you want with it. Take it everywhere else. And whenever you've got 24 hours, that's fine. It's fine for a week. But let's say 24 hours, that food can just be scattered about to charities everywhere, people's homes, scatter it everywhere. No, we're putting it in the bin. We can't be bothered. Because we don't do anything really unless we have to. Do you know what I mean?
Make it a tax incentive. Yeah. Literally. Make it a tax incentive.
Yeah, you have to make it a profit.
People will
in charge of it.
Yeah, but big companies would jump on it.
There's nobody just sat down and calculated what could be done with this, and like even if it was like how much money could we make out of this as a business charity, it's a charity tax write-off and all that. Surely you just need to do it one place and then get one MP on your side and go right. But if we do that, there, and there, and there are good people everywhere, pay them that. Then that's it. And you have things like charity shops collecting clothes and all that. There's a system of doing these things, especially now where you need people in work and you need food. Surely everyone that's on the list at a food bank, you just hire people to go and go, right, there's the vans. And that'd be a nice
volunteers.
thing.
This is volunteers as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like people, this is charity workers.
But everything's like set up. But it's like, why does greed have to be the only reason anybody does anything? And when I was working on a film set and the catering was horrendous. So they ended up having to get rid of the the stuff that was being made, the sandwiches and all that. So it took them around to, I can't remember now, some sort of hostels or something like that. But then I went back the next day, she said, we can't take these because we're not allowed. I felt like, anyway, so it's just like, come on. Right, I'm going to derail.
Even starving people. Turns out beggars can be choosers.
Yeah, well done, Charles. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know. Turns out you can be. Who thought? I'm going to derail us again. All right, something else. Right, Ayn Rand.
Oh God.
The name keeps popping up, and I don't know why. I've looked at it briefly, but I was like, I don't know why does this name keep popping up? Is it good or is it bad? I don't know. She wrote a book. What was it called? What was the main one?
Shrunk, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and the Fountainhead as well.
And I thought, I don't know what this is trying to say. I haven't looked into it, but it popped up again, and I was like, right, who is Ayn? What is this? Why should we agree or should we not agree?
It's okay. She is a slightly controversial figure.
Yeah.
She wrote two very well.
It sounds like she should be good, but
to be fair, I've never read them. To be fair, this is all.
But what is her stance? What is she like fascist? Because she sounds like she's supposed to be good, but like people like her and people don't. But why? What's her?
I think from what I gather, a lot of it is that she's been taken by people who support very conservative, very right wing views. So whether that's what she espouses, I don't know, because I haven't read it, but I think that's a big problem.
Because she never actually says anything. It's all through stories.
I think she's dead.
No, but I mean, she's not doing speeches on things. It's all sort of like she wrote a book roughly about, and you go, well, I ain't got to read the whole bloody thing.
She did give some speeches, and some of the political opinions she did expressly sort of come out within these speeches is appalling. Some of the stuff. I mean, some of the comments on Native Americans, that these people were savages and animals, and they deserve to be wiped. If they couldn't resist the conquistadors, then they deserve to be utterly annihilated.
So, like the Atlas Shrugged, I thought,
it's effectively, I suppose, radical individualism. Yeah, it's almost like a libertarian kind of ideology, i.e., no government, no interference. I should be allowed to do whatever, as the individual. I should be allowed basically to do whatever I want,
right?
And dominate the weak. It's social Darwinism as well, element as in the strong.
Because I think she was a bit of a society climber. She's one of those sort of people that likes to sort of marry the right people, sort of thing.
According to PBS, so I've just did a quick scan because the core of Rand's philosophy, which also constitutes the overarching theme of her novels, is that unfettered self-interest is good and altruism is destructive.
Yeah.
This, she believed, is the ultimate expression of human nature, the guiding principle by which one ought to live one's life. A couple of quotes here. The question isn't who is going to let me, it's who is going to stop me. And another quote here. The smallest minority on earth is the individual. Those who deny individual rights cannot claim to be defenders of minorities.
Say that again.
The smallest minority on earth is the individual. Yeah. Those who deny individual rights cannot claim to be defenders of minorities.
Deny individual rights. Oh, right, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's sensible in a way. But
I suppose it's when things are taken to the nth degree.
Yeah,
I think
it's like the
saying
Nazis
that
picking
altruism is. Yeah.
This is what I was saying. It's almost a kind of, it's a very extreme kind of, because individual rights, yay, great.
But they always go too far.
But then when the way she interpreted that, I mean, we're all in favour of individual rights, human rights, certainly, civil liberties. But the way she interpreted that was effectively, it's not. We have a concept of, I suppose, my rights. I have a right to do anything that doesn't impede your right to do anything. That's kind of the broad understanding.
Yeah, but you always have to have that thing that next to the that sort of powerful thing of my rights. You always have to have my responsibility as well. You can't just have my rights, sod off. It's like everyone's got rights, but you've also got a responsibility. That comes with understanding you're part of a society.
Yes, and she completely ignored that second part. That there are any consequences, or in fact that anyone else's rights.
Oh right,
it's not that every individual. It seemed to not be that every individual had rights and they should be respected. It's I'm the individual. I'm the only person that matters. Right, my rights, my desires and rights supersede everyone else's, and it doesn't matter who I damage or the consequences of any of my actions on anyone else. It only matters about me.
Yeah, see, those things are always sort of like, but have you thought deeper than what if somebody else is like you? And you go, I don't care. This is the way I am. Then
you crush them.
You crush them.
You crush them. Yeah, because they'll crush you. So you crush them. You just crush everyone on the way.
And have you thought about sort of standing back over generations, how that figures out? Nope. It stopped. I was listening to one of the Michael Parkinson interviews I've been talking about that I was listening to. They were speaking to a guy, I can't remember who it was now, but so this is like the late 70s, and he's actually talking about the rise of skyscrapers, and he said, this is disgraceful. Like you're being used to not being given your own piece of land, which is what every Englishman should have. He said, now you're being told to live in a box up in the sky. And I thought, he was right, the late 70s, and he was right then. It's actually quite the Michael Parkinson autobiography. If you go back to this, it's quite interesting just watching, because he said he came along at the right time, because when he started interviewing film stars and all that, they weren't allowed to do interviews, especially like long form interviews. And when he's faking like having an assistant.
Sorry.
I
can't talk when somebody's making me. I can't do it.
Yeah, so just to fill
just stop everything
in, Charles just had to make some signals to someone off stage.
To the director, offset.
So, Theo, sorry, train of thought
carry on,
derailed.
Was you asking for the cheese to be sliced on the tracks?
Yeah. I won't even tell you what it's about. So
okay. He was
mysterious.
Was it about cheese?
No, it was about an iron.
An iron?
Yes.
You could use just a cheese toaster if you want, rather than an iron.
It's in the living room. Yes.
It looks like he's faking it. That doesn't look real.
Yeah.
Look.
He's like,
terrible.
oh, sorry,
Oh,
I've got to go and help get the iron now.
Yeah.
No.
And then you hear the toilet flush.
Do you need to go for a moment, Charles?
You can
to be
stop.
honest?
No, it's fine. It's
No,
fine.
it's fine.
Okay.
This
what
is
was I
a
talking
free
about now?
podcast.
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, look, that's terrible acting, Charles. That is... Bring this person onto the screen. Look, here we go. Bad acting. Look.
No.
Throw something. Right, listen. Let's get back to what I was talking. So the
Was that your dear mother there?
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
So anyway, so Parkinson, he was saying, when he came along, it was the first time where they were allowed to do interviews. So they all were like desperate to do interviews. And he said, you'd never think now, like, because you never saw film stars back then. It didn't happen. And he said, when people like Fred Astaire and James Cagney, he said, when they would walk onto the stage to be interviewed, he said people would gasp. Like they'd never actually seen them in person, these people, because they didn't do long form interviews. You'd only seen them on screens, and you didn't have social media, so he wasn't photographing them all the time. He said they would be an audible gasp when superstars would like come out onto the stage for the first time, like they just amazing. But then he just goes on to nowadays, and he hates everything now. He said because everything's just. He said you couldn't do it now because everything's laid out. They know everything about everyone. There's no awe about anyone. And talk about
silly thing. Remember going to the cinema and seeing the trailers, and you hadn't seen the trailers, and when you actually sat down in the cinema and they showed the trailers, most of you're like, oh, I haven't seen that. Oh, well, this is
I hadn't heard about that.
Well, you couldn't see the trailer online, so you would only. I mean, this was a thing with whether it's true or not, because it's not like they were standing outside, could do it with a questionnaire. But
you mean Meet Joe Black?
Yeah, Meet Joe Black. Yeah, he knew what I was going to say. That Meet Joe Black, which has mixed reviews.
It's a bit of a mess. It's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, it is quite a mess. It's where Brad Pitt is.
The scene where he gets hit by the car.
Yeah, it's amazing. So basically, Brad Pitt's going around as whoever gets hit by a car, and because death wants to experience life, sort of takes over his body.
Oh, it's a horror.
It's a bit weird.
And spends time with Anthony Hopkins, it's a sort of romance, I guess.
It's a romance.
Because he falls in love with Anthony Hopkins' daughter. And
he falls in love with Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah. It's just...
So he's now the devil, he's come back.
No, he's not the devil, he's just the angel of death. But he wants to experience life, and I think he grants Anthony Hopkins a little more time than he was scheduled for, as it were, I guess, if he can spend time living with him.
And what's this? What were we talking about? Signing something?
So it's just the fact that when Meet Joe Black had a very successful box office run, despite its lukewarm reception, and some of that is attributed to the fact that the Star Wars Episode 1 Phantom Menace trailer was attached to it. So they're saying all these geeks were just going along, and then the trailer would play, and then they would leave.
Supposedly, this is an urban legend.
This is true or not.
Literally, 3/4 of the audience would get up after the trailers were finished and leave because they didn't want to bother watching this film.
Well, even on, do you remember videotapes, when you put them in, you'd have to sit through trailers and you go, oh, I didn't know that film's happening. You hadn't been religiously told years in advance that this thing was coming out. You just go, oh, right, he's got a new film out. Yeah. But that's the thing with everything, that there's no theatre around anything, is there? It's all shoved in your face, sit indoors.
You get the odd one that was interesting. I watched for the first time last night the Cloverfield Paradox.
Okay.
So they've done all these. There was Cloverfield, then there was 10 Cloverfield Lane and Cloverfield Paradox, and apparently, I say apparently, I don't know why this would be a lie, but they showed a trailer for it as a surprise thing, which they do. This is J.J. Abrams' project, so he does tend to do this sort of thing. It was a surprise trailer during Super Bowl, whatever.
Oh, it was a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then it immediately was released on Netflix straight after, but without any kind of fanfare.
Yeah, well, there you go. But that's a very one-off. That's
rare, yeah.
But you just
the end of the Mandalorian had a bit of surprise that I'm surprised that I was surprised.
Every once in a while,
under wraps.
Baby Yoda was a surprise. Certain appearance at the end of episode of the second season was a surprise. I don't want to spoil it because it's a wonderful surprise.
Nothing stays the same. So when something's done the same again and again and again, it only takes one person to change it. But I think if you just had the money, you had made a film, say The Joker, and you thought, right, there's going to be not one image and not one scene released before we do it. Would that completely damage the film? Or would that be like, we just go, no, it wouldn't work in today's society. It's not one of those things you can change. You need to build up. Could you not go, no, nothing. You're going to come and see it. Well, would that just disaster? Would that be disaster?
It's a big risk to take, and this is why, when people talk about, why are films all the same? Why don't they ever do this? It's because it's not your job to lose if it goes wrong. You know what I mean? So that's why it depends on what the project is. Because obviously with the Cloverfield Paradox, they had nothing to lose because it was going on Netflix anyway. They're not. It's paid for already. They're not.
Yeah, I think there's things I
algorithm.
don't see because I've seen the adverts and the trailers. And I go, no, that doesn't look. I would have probably.
Some films you look at and you go, well, that's the whole fucking trailer. I can't.
And especially
remember.
Like disaster films. You've shown me all your best bits. You've shown me all your best bits.
I can't remember.
There's some trailers and you're like, I don't need to watch the film now.
It was genuinely.
You know what I mean? You're like, oh.
I can't remember which trailer it was, and I was flabbergasted. It was just some crappy, CGI, whatever, nonsense. And I went, that literally showed the hero. I know the hero's going to kill the villain. Right, What the thing with storytelling is, broadly speaking, every once in a while, you get the M. Shyamalan twist or whatever, but broadly speaking, what's going to happen. That's what you demand. But that's what storytelling must have.
And the audience wants a satisfying, usually happy ending.
But sometimes the guy losing can be the can be an interesting, the Omega Man, spoiler alert, he loses essentially because he realizes he's the monster, he's the boogeyman now, because everyone else is a vampire. It's not he's trying to cure the world, it's he's the bad guy and he needs to die. Spoilers. Soylent Green is people. It's all Charlton Heston films. Maybe that's it. Planet of the Apes. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, but it's the how that you need it. That is the mystery. How does, whatever this? How do they destroy the One Ring? How do they do this? How do they do it? But this trailer, I can't remember for the life of me what it was. It might have been a superhero film, and I went, "That's literally him killing the bad guy."
Oh, no.
It was the coming down with a big sword swipe. It cut from moments from it hitting his head, but it was genuinely like, well, what is the fucking point of this film?
There was a bit I saw, it was The Rock, and it was, I can't remember what film it was, but one of the scenes in the trailer, he's obviously got a shirt that's like ripped and a little bit bloodied and dirty, and he's holding the woman like next to him, and I was thinking, right, that's obviously a scene from like when he's been through the battle and they get together at the end.
The amount of trailers that have images or sections from the last scene in the film,
the
like nowadays.
Image.
You're like, or even like the post-credit scene now. You're just like, what?
Yeah. Somebody should just go, no, you're not being treated like children anymore. You want to see, this is the film, you're not going to see anything. I wonder if you could like Google things like The Exorcist and all that, and whether they'll be very minimalist, or if I'm just romanticizing it, it's going to be exactly the same.
No, I think it's not as. The one thing is, when you watch trailers, you look at old trailers, you look at them, you're like, fucking hell, how did anyone go and see this? This looks awful.
Yeah.
Like
they're really weird.
Yeah, the one that really I thought was like, what was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, which I love. It's such a guilty pleasure with Alan Rickman.
It's so ridiculous. Yeah.
But the trailer, I was like, this is awful, and it wasn't like one of those early trailers where they've got, which is very common now, where they've got some of the footage. For example, they released a trailer for the forthcoming, although who knows when, with COVID, the Batman film, the new one with that's a sort of origin story, and they released that, and then and everyone was like, "Oh, is it done?" And they were like, "No, we got half the film to do." It's like, how have you managed to make it? But that's to generate these buzz, because these films cost so much money. They've got to guarantee interest. Mm-hmm. But I watched this, Prince of Thieves trailer. I can't remember why. I think it might have been on the DVD when I was watching it. I was like, this looks like the most po-faced, boring, self-serious, slightly shoddy film ever. It looks awful, and you think how much fun that film is, how it did joyful
seem like
it is.
They didn't really care back then. They weren't too bothered.
No, it's just like, oh, there is a film, off you go, bye.
Have you seen the Ghostbusters trailer?
No.
They're like, there are three men, and they start a business, and it's about catching ghosts, and they live in New York. And literally like that, it's like that. And you're like, and then they catch the ghosts, and then they make money.
Yeah, I wonder if you could.
Out this summer. And you're like, what? You're just like, okay.
Yeah, I wonder if you could do it, but actually make it like you are playing, you're doing a parody. This is part of the entertainment, is the trailer. Not just like, here's what's going to come out. Make it a fun
I would say that the original trailer, the teaser trailer, I suppose, for Ted, the film with the Seth MacFarlane film where the guy's teddy bear is alive, but then he grows up and becomes, and it's like, how does you live as a 35-year-old or whatever guy? And it's really quite a funny premise. But the original, I think it's difficult to find now, actually. I suppose we would call it the viral trailer, had it as this cute comedy, rom-com of Mark Wahlberg and Mila Kunis, and they didn't really announce what it was. They didn't really say too much about what it was. So it's all of, it's the boy meets girl, and they settle in, and there's all these cute little moments. And then it suddenly throws in, and there's a real teddy bear and he's foul-mouthed and he smokes weed and they're just two slackers. And it comes in out of the middle of nowhere and it's brilliant. It's so good if you can track that down.
The Deadpool trailers are quite fun.
Yeah, those are. Yeah,
because again they shoot. It's like a little comedy sketch thing for a minute or two, with just him mucking around. And
I think trailers there could be a lot more done with trailers. I think it's very lazy at the moment, especially with the big blockbusters where it's just shareholders going, show them everything, show them.
I think that is one thing we can certainly say for the as much as people have been very critical of them, of the sequel trilogy, the most recent Star Wars films, the sequel trilogies, is that their trailers were very much about mood and theme and action rather than, and it sets it up, this is your hero, this are your villains, but we don't know what the story is, but you were still engaged in it because it was compelling. You had a few little snippets of quotes, things were out of order.
I'm wondering what they've done with the Joker trailers because I don't remember seeing one. I wonder if they must have been quite decent.
There was one good one I remember.
The first one, wasn't it? Yeah.
It had Smile. Smile. Well, your heart is brave. And that was a good trailer, and I was like, oh, this looks good, interesting. Because I literally had no interest in it. I was like, okay, fine.
I'm going to Google the trailer for Joker and Watchmen. I reckon they'll do a good Watchmen one. No,
I'm trying to remember what the Watchmen trailer is.
Yeah, I'm going to look them up.
But there's a couple of Joker trailers, but there's one of them that I remember thinking, oh, that.
Yeah, probably. I think it would be called. It's probably the teaser trailer,
teaser or something. Or first look or whatever.
Yeah.
Over the last year, I've been trying to sort of force in. I've decided to be like more of a normal human. I'm trying to force it in. I've done it a couple of times. It never works. I'm definitely trying to do it this year. So I've been like listening to the audiobooks and I'm watching some old movies just to slow me down. And so I watched we spoke about the film I watched before. I forgot what it was now. What was the old film I watched? Oh, anyway. Have you heard of a film called Lost Horizon? An old black and white film.
I've heard the name.
It's where you get the term Shangri-La as being this amazing far place.
Is that where it comes up every 5 years or whatever? Every 10 years?
I haven't watched it yet, but it's basically, it starts off and you go, oh, okay. Because when you see black and white films, you go, it's like the film I was telling you about. I said, if you like The Thing, go and watch this, the one I sent you the trailer for, the video for. Because it's actually quite good. You imagine them being sort of like quite two-dimensional. But this one, I thought, I was looking at it and it's the guy holding the girl and he's like 52 with a little moustache and she's like 18.
He's breathing in a lot, is he? Yeah. Just breathing.
And you see the girdle under the seat.
He's like this. She's that. And I thought,
he's 30 years older than her. Can he make it work?
More than that, mate. But I was watching, I thought, I've heard the name pop up, and then they said, "Oh, that's where you get Shangri-La." And I thought, "What's that to do with this old film?" And there's always like one of those old propeller planes and somebody running to the airport, like all that. I thought, "What?" And I was sort of looking at it and looked into the story of it online. And I thought, "Oh my god, that's quite interesting." Like the way it's set up as the guy lost his memory, and then it's told through somebody that met him, and it's about this guy that goes to a place and he's trying to get back there, but they think he's insane.
Yeah, I think I've seen it.
And they're saying, why is he saying he knows like Picasso? But no, he did know because he was young, because he went to Shangri-La. You don't get old when you go there.
Time moves differently, yeah. And I think it only appears every
oh, is that what
often.
It is?
Yeah,
so I'm just going to watch it tonight, and I thought, oh, that seems quite interesting. So, and they were doing the distilling the storyline. I thought, oh, isn't it funny? You forget those you just do imagine, oh, it's old silly films that are made in the, and I thought, oh, no, I'm going to give that a watch. But yeah, that's where you get the term Shangri-La.
Yeah, some old black and white films. I mean, most of Kurosawa's films are black and white, but
I said before, I was so surprised when I watched that Angels with Dirty Faces, because on the face of it, you think, yeah, one of these, but then the ending scene where I was watching it, where they said he's not, his agents and all that wouldn't allow him to sort of cry and scream on film, because obviously, who was it now? What was the actor?
It was Jimmy Cagney, wasn't it?
Jimmy Cagney, yeah. They said that they want to do the thing of like redemption and not which is a big thing to do for
all because I could run faster than my friend. It's really sad because they're for the grace of God. It's just the fact that he was a faster runner. Yeah. His friend got caught.
The priest, the one
he didn't. He became a priest. He became a gangster.
But and then just the story of like, it was like I love the agents going, look, we need to finish the story this way, but we're not having him on screen crying and holding onto a radiator.
Yeah.
So we'll do it, which actually makes it better. The fact that you don't see it, you just see and that's quite a deep film when you sit back and go, oh, okay, it's not so you go. So I started looking, go right. These films have got to be out there. I've got to find these films.
I recommend The Third Man if you've not seen.
So the Orson Welles film.
Yeah,
I've seen that. That's good. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Citizen Kane's an odd one because it's filmed so oddly, and it is so over the top. But it's a very, very big story. Like when you really look at it, but
it's a whole life almost.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's very much actually, isn't it?
What was the thing at the end of it? I've forgotten now.
Rosebud?
Rosebud. Yeah. Named after
spoiler alert for an 80-year-old film.
Yeah,
3, 2, 1. It's his sled.
The sub 70-year-old. Don't tell me I haven't seen it.
No, you know what it supposedly was as well.
Yeah, William. It was Mrs. Yeah,
it was his. Yeah,
a piece of genitalia, I suppose.
Yeah. It was his Mrs.
Of William Randolph Hearst, who it was based on, but it wasn't.
And he was massively confused that it was. He used that. It's like, what?
Of course, famously parodied in The Simpsons when he dies at the end of the thing.
I'm Charles Montgomery Burns.
And what rolls out of his hand? It's a glass?
It's the snow globe. Which reminds him of his childhood with the sled. There's a really funny joke in Family Guy where they say, they always do setups to cutaways, and it says they stopped letting Peter go to the video shop after he kept taping over them, giving away the plots. So it opens with it does the the famous opening scene of him lying in bed, Rosebud, and then the ball drops out of his hands and shatters, and then it cuts to Peter and he goes, "It was his sled. It was his sled when he was a kid. I just saved you 2 boobless hours."
Boobless hours.
Yeah.
Oh, this is very lowbrow. Yeah. This is very lowbrow.
I would recommend, if you've not seen Brighton Rock, probably one of the best endings, I think, of any film.
Funny enough, that does pop up. That I've heard that Brighton Rock.
Yeah, Brighton Rock with Richard. The remake's okay, actually. It's not terrible.
There's a remake.
There was one with, I forget his name now.
What decade was it? The original?
30s, I would think. Oh, right. It might be 40s, actually. I'm going to Google it. It was the 50s. Let me see.
75. Right. Oh, it's so old.
Yeah, it's always the thing. You're like, oh, God, they're so... Brighton
because
Rock
this one...
No, sorry, it's published in the 30s. It was filmed in 1947.
Oh, okay.
But it's set in the 30s. That's
because the one I said, the Shangri-La one, that was remade in like 82, and I was like, oh no, I saw the trailer for that. I thought, no, it looks like a B movie.
Yeah.
Brighton Rock, I'm gonna give that a go.
Like that King Kong remake with what's his
Jessica
name?
Lange and Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges with the dude.
Yeah, and it's like... on top of the World Trade Center instead of the Empire State Building.
Yes,
talking of endings, to go on to my run of autobiographies I've been listening to. So I was talking about, I'd finished the Madonna one, so obviously a horrible person who was a fake persona who couldn't stop cheating on anybody and kept saying I wanted love. So I finished her. That ended on as I said before, that ended on her new beginning with Guy Ritchie, who then she went on to say they divorced because he's emotionally retarded. Yeah. So that ended well. And I moved on to the Demi Moore one, which I listened to, and I was sort of most of the way through. And it gets to the bit where, so it's ended, but she got to the bit where she met Ashton Kutcher, and this was like going to be the big romance of her life. He was the soulmate. It was a big deal. He was the one. That was it. Everyone was against them.
And they lived happily ever after.
Yeah, spoiler alert coming, ladies and gentlemen. So they were like 30 years apart. They got together. He adopted the kid, or got together with them. Like he was a father for the kids and all that. Who the other kids were from Bruce Willis, I think. But he was like the big thing. She put all her eggs in the basket with him. Career and all that went for him, looking after him. I mean, he's like 23, 24, just starting out in Hollywood. All her eggs in the basket with him. Love, all that. Then he cheated on her. And then it sort of all started to crumble down. Yeah, he cheated on her.
What's he up to now? Like,
don't rail me.
Sorry, I haven't thought about Ashton Kutcher for about 15 years.
Oh God, it's probably nearly 30 now. But yeah, she was like, she said that broke her. She basically broke because like she put so much. Everyone was like, he's too young. It's too young. She's like, no. And she was saying like how young he was, and he was very mature for his age. He was thinking about property and land, and he come from like a rural background, and he believed in marriage and love, and he was constantly going on about family and love and kids. And he cheated on her with like a 21-year-old in their house, and then she found out about it. And but then she was talking about like. So this wasn't in the book, but because this was about 5 years ago. She was talking about after him, like she'd had one bloke after the next, like ended badly. It started off with her cheating on her husband on their wedding night, the night before. So that's before any marriages. So I thought, okay, so everything
you've start.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't really set a precedent for things you're going to go on to be sad about in the future. So by the end of this book, she's saying like I was broken. She then, at the age of like over 50, I think near 50, took a drug, like an overdose, nearly overdosed on drugs. Police had to be called. She said I was lying on the floor, sort of shaking from an overdose, and I was telling everybody, do not call the police, don't call anybody. She just wanted to die. She'd had enough with the Ashton Kutcher, like completely broke her. So you're sort of sad about it, but then she said, but I didn't. And then my kids, and her kids are still to this day don't talk to her, like because like she was constantly doing bad stuff. But she's at the end, she was going, you know, spiritual. Oh, by the way, through this, they joined through Madonna. Funny enough, it looped back to what I was already listening to. They looped back. They joined the
like all things. It always comes back to Madonna.
Yeah. What was their religion? Do you remember?
Oh, Kabbalah?
Yeah, Kabbalah. Yeah. So their marriage was a Kabbalah.
I have no idea what Kabbalah is.
Yeah, I know. I think it's a sort of judo. Is it?
Yeah, it's an esoteric Jewish,
magic
Jewish
thing.
Yeah.
As I said, I don't really have no idea.
But at the wedding for her and Ashton Kutcher, they were both in Kabbalah. She had to walk around him 7 times to signify that. And I'm just thinking, oh God. Anyway, so all that amounted to nothing because he just went to cheat on her anyway, so that was good, you know, the Kabbalah and all that. With Madonna as well. So Kabbalah seems to assume that your marriage will end with one of you cheating. I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
It's part of its elements.
Historically, I can only go on Madonna and Demi Moore's book, but that's apparently what seems to happen. So if you want to be cheated on, go to Kabbalah. So lots of deep talk, you know, you're at that age, spiritual, love, in touch with myself finally. And she keeps going on about this, right? About I've now found myself and it's a new chapter. I was looking for love in other places and blah, blah, blah. And now finally I can be with myself. And this goes on for like 10 minutes, right? Me, myself, the spiritual, finding myself. Everyone's left me, but it took everybody to leave me, so now I'm with myself, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, right, let me look what she's up to now, because it ended with that.
Oh, God.
She's now a lesbian. She's in a relationship with like this Russian. And I thought, well, you haven't.
Is this Demi Moore? Yeah.
Yeah, she's with this Russian art. And I thought, right,
fair play.
Have you found yourself now the true you as a lesbian, or are you really, really angry that every man you've ever been to's hurt you? Because that doesn't suggest to me that you're in a healthy situation. I think you're very, very, very damaged. That's what I think is what's happened here, and you hate men now. Is it still on there, Andrew? Or is he just reading the news?
He's just he's reading his checking.
Oh, what did you say? Yeah, is he typing quickly? More relationship, online, Russian artist.
We're going to find out that this is all wrong, and Dudley Moore.
No,
Dudley Moore's last relationship was
put out fake stories about her. No, it must show. Does it not show Demi Moore?
Oh, there we go. I just typed in Demi Moore girlfriend. There we go.
Yeah. What is it? What's it saying?
But now she's reportedly found happiness with a new Serbian, so not Russian, right. Masha Manzuka.
Yeah, that rings well. So here's my thing, though. Come on, you're not 56 and you've suddenly found out you're a lesbian, right? That seems to me that you are now damaged. You haven't found yourself. No way. Not after the string of men she was desperately seeking attention from.
Okay, I think it's perfectly possible to.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, it can. But having known her life,
but you don't necessarily have to pick a side sometimes. And there is a thing there. I could see a possibility to be. What is it? Pansexual.
Yeah. No.
You can fall in love with a man or woman. You know what I mean? It's about the person sometimes. And
but not after sort of 3-4 marriages, loads of kids with men, and then suddenly you go, I'm completely broken by that last person. I'm going to go for women.
Well, it's not necessarily that she's like, oh, I'm discovered I'm a lesbian. She might just really like this one person who happens to be a woman. You know what I mean? They might fall in love with someone who happens to be a woman.
Based on this, there's
you can. I mean, I think that's possible.
I'm going by Instagram here, I'm afraid, but based on this, it looks like there's pictures of her with. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh no, there is a picture of her with Demi Moore. I don't know. So weird.
Well, no, I think she was married to her. Like she said at the end of the book, she said this is like a gay marriage, like to a lesbian or something. It's something weird. Like she just went off the bloody rails. But when they're together,
I don't know
with Ashton. No, because at the end of the book, she said, "I'm now with a gay," and she says a name. I'm like, "You're with a gay what? You're married?"
Well, she could just be, marriage. But I mean, it could be that they're both bisexuals. That's all. I don't know.
Oh,
are you sure about it? Because when I googled that, all the information just said it was.
No, but it's not that she's with. That's not the thing. Ago. It was the thing of on the book at the end of the book. Her
but could it not be that maybe she's been actually bisexual or gay her whole life and just hasn't realised?
Oh well, no. Listen, no. But in the book, they see this is the first problem that pops up with the Ashton Kutcher thing. She says one of the biggest mistakes was when they were together, they're married, very happy, everything was perfect. She kept going on about it. They loved each other. They couldn't stop texting for years like this went on. And he said, and then one day Ashton Kutcher suggested we bring a third person into the relationship. And I thought, right, I'm assuming this is a woman. Yeah, I'm assuming he's not another man. So they started having
usually
threesomes.
Is, yeah.
So they started having threesomes. So I'm assuming she is bisexual anyway.
Why have we become so kind of prurient? I guess I don't know.
I'm shaming here. Yeah.
Shaming. No, what I'm saying is that was the first problem. I thought, no, stop there. Do not bring another person into your happy marriage. It's not going to work out well. And it did. And then obviously the cheating happened and all that. I hope she is happy, but the problem is when you treat people really, really badly, I have a hard time going back to feeling sorry for you. I really do. When you cheat on somebody the night before your wedding night and say, well, I didn't know how to get out of it, so I think it was me trying to show, no, don't destroy somebody because you can't figure out how to say something to somebody. And I honestly, throughout the rest of the book, I don't feel bad for her because I think, no, you did the terrible, terrible thing yourself. So don't say when somebody else does it to you, it's really, really wrong. There's no sympathy there.
Well, you sort of, I suppose on some level you teach people, you show people how you want to be treated.
Well, it goes deeper than that.
Through your actions.
Setting up
you
bad
treat
energy
others.
on,
You treat others how you sort of want to be treated.
Yeah, and then you can't complain about it. I feel sorry, but don't complain that the people are doing the things to you that you did worse than.
Yeah, because you probably try and do the same.
She had a bad childhood, and I always think that sticks with you. So I would hope she has found happiness, and because it is sad when somebody gets hurt again and again and again, even if you did, you didn't make the best of the situation.
I don't wish anyone necessarily.
Yeah, I feel the worst.
Or very few people.
Well, Ashton Kutcher's the worst one because she said when he was with her, he come from a sort of rural background. He said he was very much women loving being a family man and children and all that, and then eventually got swept up in it. And then no, I'm going to cheat on you. You go, oh, that's nice. What a man you are. What a top fella you are. Right, so let's get off of that. The Obama was popping up again. What's happening on Yahoo News? Was he just watching the?
I was just trying to work out.
He's watching trailers for Star Wars.
Just like, let's watch that again. Like, just mute these guys. While two straight men try and deconstruct whether this relationship.
All I was doing was stating.
Did Demi Moore really ever be a lesbian or not?
All I was doing is stating facts. I had no opinion. I hope she's happy.
Yeah. But I couldn't find any information on whether they're still together or not. I mean, there was certainly something from 9 months ago seemed to indicate that her and this Masha Manzuka, I think that was her surname, are still together.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's honest. My celebrity.
To bring it back to politics, we had a nice little break there. But to bring it back to politics, Obama's been popping up again. And
Mr. Long-legged Mac Daddy.
Yeah, he's got his another autobiography out, Something Land, where he's looking off into the distance.
Promised Land, I believe.
Probably.
Hasn't he got a Netflix show or something? He's got a Netflix deal or something.
Listen, do not forget what he is, okay? He was a politician that promised a lot, Yes, I can. Stood on the back of all those black people that had sacrificed things, got it the power that they all died for, and then did sod all and went back on things. And I was talking to somebody about this other day. People, do you know the Flint water? What happened at Flint?
Flint fake water, and he pretending to drink water.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
So you have to really understand. So, oh god. So basically, it turned. There was two big pipe. There was a big pipeline running water. I think Detroit was running the water into Flint, Michigan. Okay, this is the story quickly. They then decided it was Detroit. They're charging them too much money, so they said, right, what we're going to do is build our own pipeline. So they built a second pipeline. They rushed it. It was like JP Morgan and all these big companies. It was basically a money job. It was a load of big companies to make a load of money. Big companies came in, built a construction, put a load of water in. The people that were putting it in charge of the water said, do not release this. It is not ready. And people like literally sat, I'm not putting my name to this because it's not ready. But, you know, big money. They're all invested in getting this built, all blah, 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 blah. They did it. Days in for the new water pipe that's coming in. People are getting blisters, sores and things. Old people are getting sick. There was an outbreak of Legionnaires, which they then, of course, fought to say. Well,
there's that very famous footage, isn't there, of people setting fire to their water coming out their taps. Yeah.
They denied it. They again, outbreak of Legionnaires. A few people died. Turned out instead of 6, it was like 125. They tried to blame it on the hospital. The hospital did an investigation. The hospital said no, it's not coming from the hospital. Bullshit. Went on.
Michael Moore championed this, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I did a film. I think he did a film, or it was in a film.
He did, yeah.
So this went on for months and months and months. People are getting sick, memory loss, complaints, doing nothing about it. Obfuscation, nothing to do with us. No, it's fine. We've done the tests. Turned out they were fixing the tests, so they would like run the taps for 10 minutes and all this sort of stuff. Then I think it was Ford. Was that Detroit Ford? Anyway, one of the big car companies. It was ruining the paint on the cars because they were obviously using this water. So
it was literally stripping the paint off cars.
It was damaging the cars. So they then put them back on the other pipe, but kept everyone else on the new pipe with all the lead contaminants and things like that. Now, it got to the point, because it was a year in, kids were getting sick. Like, it was getting serious now. I mean, people were getting blisters on their skin from the water. People weren't drinking the water. So it comes around to voting time. Hillary Clinton, all that. So Obama thinks, right, I'm going to have to go to Flint to sort of, on her behalf, to sort of talk about her. But obviously they've got this big story about Flint. It's a huge story, because what they were saying is, this has to be this is an emergency situation. We need the army in to pull all of these pipes out, because they're trying to fix things. They said, no, all the pipes going to all the homes, 100,000 homes,
didn't this start becoming a thing in the 90s? I swear I heard about this, I swear this has been dragging on for over 20 years.
It might have been another thing before, I don't know. But this thing I'm talking about. So people aren't using the water thing anymore. Everything's come through. It's serious. Like, it's a big, massive thing. They said all these pipes have to come out. You can't fix these problems now. All these pipes are contaminated in every home now. It's done. So, but obviously they can't do anything about that. So anyway, so Obama turns up. He starts. He knows the story, so he's there. And the thing is, he starts doing this when he's talking. Oh, clear my throat. And he says, anybody got a glass of water? And everyone's like, ooh. Somebody comes out with a glass of water, drinks from it, puts it down. Oh, well done. So but anyway, so that it turns out that afterwards, Michael Moore found this out. He looked into it. Turns out, and this is how it all came out, that the school had shut off its water supply a year before because of the contaminants. The only water they were using was from the toilets. So there was no running taps in that hospital, in that school, at the time where he was doing his speech. So they found out, this is official, we found out that glass of water had actually come off Air Force One. That's where they brought that water in from. There was no tap that came from. So Obama went to a place with poisoned water where children were being poisoned, and that lead poisoning, mate, that's not going to show up until you're in your 20s and your 30s. And you, because they had a couple of kids that said they weren't growing, they couldn't walk, their balance had gone, like all these, everything was going on.
It does terrible things to your brain and brain
over
especially
time,
brain
forget
development
it.
in young kids and stuff. Yeah.
So so Obama went on there, knowing all this, let me trick mostly black people into thinking I've just drank some glass water, not knowing that everyone, the teacher come and said, no, the water's been off here. We got no running water here, apart from in the toilets. It was off a year ago. So, and it turned out that they got that water off Air Force One. That glass water come off Air Force One. And when it all came out, like when the voting came around, they said like 10,000 black people, they were down from voting because they were so appalled by what he'd done. So remember, forget the books, forget his nice speeches that you get tricked into. He's a nice guy. Forget him and his Obama and his wife, all nice and all speaking. He went into a place where children were being poisoned with lead, faked drinking the water, and got it off his thing, and said, carry on, guy. Look, it's clean. You carry on, unless there's another reason that I'm not knowing why he did it. But he was basically tricking people to carry on drinking poisoned water while he drank off the Air Force One and then disappeared, and it hasn't been sorted. So whenever you see his interviews and his books and that smiling face, remember, he tricked people from his own community into drinking poisoned water. That's who he is. When somebody does something horrendous like that, forget all the good stuff. Because I keep saying to people, good stuff can be faked. You can't get good people to do really, really bad things, but you can quite easily get bad people to do really, really good things. It doesn't work the other way around. A good person won't do a horrendous act. You can't get them to do it. So
I think you can get compromised by the job, though. I do. I think
that,
even
not
the best.
Poisoning,
I think even
not poisoning.
I think even the best person would. The greatest, I think even like Jesus Christ or someone or Gandhi would, if you stuck in being president of the United States, I think that they'd eventually end up
they all lie.
God.
Everyone, you have to part of the thing.
Yeah.
But there's nobody that's a half decent person could be convinced to say, can you go and tell them that lead poisoned water is fine, and you pretend to drink it? It's not like, I don't know what's going on. Where did the water come from? No. You know everything.
And
so
that's not for and I get what you mean. That's not for for the greater good necessarily. Sometimes you have to kind of fudge the facts for the greater good.
That's part of
national
it.
security or the good of the nation or the good of mankind or whatever. You had to kind of fudge the facts a little bit.
But lead poisoned water to children, when you've got 9 months of everyone 3 days in, people were complaining about getting sick, and you say no for sake. If you said, I have to do this, I have to sacrifice this because Jesus or Buddha or Allah is going to come back, you go, gee, okay, if for what you're doing, I'm going to end Nazism because of what I do here. You go, okay, it's still a big deal to carry with you for the rest of your life, but to do it just for nothing, for voting, to get some more votes, to say, yeah, it's fine, people, all that stuff, it's all news, don't worry about it. And you faked saying, getting children to drink poisoned water for your political career. That's who you are. I don't want to hear your book about the land and the brave and your interviews where you're all smiling, your Netflix. That's who you are. That's who your wife married. That's who your children's father is. The person that said, it's okay to drink that leaded water, but I'm not going to do it. But you carry on doing it, and I'm going to do it for my career. So again, when I keep saying that people are actors, remember that you're literally seeing a play. They're theatre. They are actors. They are told what to say. They are dressed by how they're told to dress. They're told how to act. They're told about what to talk about. They are actors. I have to keep shouting at people. They are. Stop talking about like they're normal human beings. They are acting. They are playing a role. And it's things like that. We go, oh wow. They will leave it. That is just a script they're being given. They have got that's a play to them. What do I have to say? Yeah, let's fake drinking the water. There's children. It's in a school, for God's sake. It's in a school. So, yeah, you carry on drinking. All that stuff you've heard, all those tests, people coming out left, right and centre. And I'm only mentioning this now because the guy that was in charge of it is now finally looking like he's actually going to go to jail because of all the stuff. He had a bully boy trying to threaten people to not sue them. Doctors and all that were getting the corruption went mental, where everyone was saying no. The tests, the water, the doctors. Say this is poisoned water. You can't have the schools were closing off the water supplies, and they were still going no. The only one that was getting the clean water was the bloody car company that put back onto the old water immediately when everyone else had to. So remember, when any Obama, all that stuff that you get faked into seeing and you start to believe he's a nice guy and all that, he went to that school with children and said, look, the water's fine here. You carry on drinking that poison water and I'll pretend that this is real. But actually it came off of Air Force One. I should look up the film, actually, the Michael Moore thing to see what was in.
I swear that was early 90s or mid 90s.
Yeah, but it's forgotten. It's forgotten about. You go, no, I don't think they've rectified that problem. I mean, to be honest, I should have looked it up. But you can't fix it because all the pipes in all the houses have now corroded. So there's lead coming into all the houses. So I don't know how they solved it. But so you remember who? Because he's when I see him popping up again, I think, oh, give me a break. There's this fake PR that he's this friendly, warm guy. No, you're a politician. As soon as you go into that White House, mate, I keep saying you pop out a different person.
Yeah.
Because you I mean, even the fact just to get there, you've got to do all that. You've got to poison yourself just to get there. You've got to be making deals, knowing who you are, stripping your dignity away. So when you walk in, you've basically sold your soul anyway.
I remember Simpsons when Krusty becomes a congressman. He was just like, they were like, Krusty, Krusty. They go, have you stuck with any of your pledges for when you were elected? And he goes, did I pledge to be a slave to big oil? And they were like, no. And he's just like, oh god, then no.
Andrew, could you look up that Flint, Michigan Michael Moore film?
I can indeed.
I just want to name what the film, because you can't, because you're not going to see this, you're not going to hear about it. It's not going to be on any. I'm surprised Fox. Well, I don't watch Fox News, but they should have been bringing that back up.
You're more of an OAN man, yeah.
What's that? Is that an actual channel?
Yeah,
they were talking
American News.
One American News, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
but yeah, apparently the only good thing is like all the advertisers after that siege have basically said, "Look, we ain't giving you no money, mate. We ain't putting our name to you." Yeah. Fox News put him in charge. I mean, that was that's state TV. That was state TV.
Flint, Fahrenheit 11/9.
I was in that one. Oh, that wasn't quite. What was that? What year was that? That's quite recent, like a few years ago.
2018.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, so what? He was only reporting in it then.
No, I swear he did.
He probably did it earlier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so remember,
because he's from Flint, so he was sort of championing that a long time ago. Yeah, when he first sort of came onto the scene. Yeah.
But just when you can watch the clip on YouTube, because I haven't actually seen the clip of him doing it. But when you watch it, you go, "You are a horrendous human being. You are a horrendous human being." In a school.
That's not the worst thing he's done, though. Unfortunately, think all the tens of thousands of people he obliterated in a drone strike.
Well, I mean, then you go back to sort of George Bush and basically a war criminal who just you go, "Oh my God!" It's just again. Just please keep remembering, people, they are actors. You are not seeing a real human being. They are told what to say. They're told how to dress. They're told how to speak. And everything is they're trained actors who call themselves politicians. What was that saying about politicians? They're ugly actors or something. They're ugly. There's something about they're ugly. They're basically failed actors, so they're ugly. They weren't good enough to be proper actors, but they're actors. That's all they are. They are actors. Yeah, so when I see him, I think, oh, forget it. He drives me up the bloody wall. But yeah, so remember that. In fact, Google Flint, Michigan, Obama water and watch the scene of him drinking water from Air Force One that is not from the school. The school that he was in, surrounded by children. Anyway, that's what I want to say about Obama.
Cool. Okay, cool. Do you see Sleepy Joe's being
I haven't seen anything
impeached?
Hey?
Yeah, they put in an impeachment.
The other side.
Did. One woman.
Yeah.
I've forgotten her name. Mary.
I actually wrote it down. I can't find it.
Mary Jo Bethany Bethanan.
Mary
gun-toting
Marjorie something.
One of my friends in America. I believe I can't remember his exact words, but I think he said she was from some possum eating.
Well, there was somebody running for government or something like that, and she's the open carry woman.
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah.
That's the same one.
She's got a bar.
But she also
Shooters.
she's open carry, but also
woman.
deliberately sidestepped the metal detectors to get into the Senate.
Oh yeah, did that. Yeah, just think
she
of that.
complained bitterly. Yeah.
That should be an arrest thing. You've hidden it.
Well, people are saying like, why have you done this then? Why is someone bringing a gun to the Senate floor?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's no sense of, oh, she's got a gun, arrest her. No, well, I'm a Senate and I did it for these reasons. No. It doesn't matter. You've tried to bring a gun. You're a human being, tried to bring a gun. After a revolution, you've tried to bring a gun So that's surely a crime. You don't go, oh, you're not allowed that. No, hang
Into
on.
a federal building.
That's an arrest, surely. That's not, oh, well, I did it for this reason. It doesn't matter why you...
But she probably wants to be arrested, so then she
Well, I'm not doing that. Arrest her, then we'll discuss everything afterwards. Yeah. Arrest her first. You can't keep knocking back laws and go, well, we can't because of this. We can't do it because of the way it looks.
I think it's an open carry state, isn't it? So she does out
but not
of
in
federal
that. You can't...
Yeah, not federal buildings.
Yeah, you can't have it there. In fact... I don't think you can in Washington. I think the whole thing, you're not allowed to have a license.
Maybe it's a permit. Maybe you have to have a permit. I don't know the.
Or it's a crime. One's you should have a permit, but it's a crime in the building. But I think the whole of Washington, the gold laws,
it doesn't count in federal buildings because federal buildings are under federal jurisdiction, so it's not under the state's laws.
But that's the thing with masks now. You have to wear. Yes. It doesn't matter what.
If it wasn't that woman, then there's another woman running for something, but she's got the bar called Shooters, and her adverts are basically, look, I've got a gun, and she has all her waitresses having the guns on their thing.
Oh, Shooters,
Shooters, yeah. But all the waitresses have the gun. Look at me, look how old I am, look how brave I am. I have a gun. Oh, well done. You're an amazing patriot.
I always just think it's kind of a sad indictment of a society that you feel that, okay, you have a right to carry a gun, but do you feel you need to carry a gun in every social? No. That every social interaction you have to you might suddenly be murdered.
No, because here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Look, it's like the siege, it's like the Patriot thing. It's the gun. It's all part of the same thing. It's all bollocks. It's nothing to do with a gun. It's to do with you being angry at something and you've focused on this one thing, my gun. A normal happy person, it's not about, but you can say patriot and America and flag, it's all noise. There's a psychological thing in you that's like, no, sod you, I'm having my thing, sod you. Doesn't matter if it's a gun or a sword or waving a flag, a Confederate flag. It doesn't, it's all this, sod you, look, I'm doing my thing, you're not telling me what to do. It's all to do with being miserable. That's what it is. With a gun. I'm sorry your husband probably left you or something like that once, and now you focus on me. Nobody's telling me what to do again. My gun. It's nothing to do with a bloody gun. You don't need it. It's not needed. Nobody's telling you your rights. You can still walk down the street. No, but you're so focused on this one thing. Her adverts I saw, they're basically, I've got a gun. Have you seen my gun? Gun's right. Have you seen him? I've got a gun. I don't care. I've got a gun. You go, okay, I get it. What is this problem you have?
Where she just loaded it and put it in her back and then just walked around, and you're like, okay.
You just want to take the gun away and sit down and go, what happened? What did somebody hurt you once? Did somebody leave you? Were you cheated on? What did mum hit you with a spoon once and you said you're going to what? Forget the gun. I don't want to talk about your gun. What is going on inside you? Forget the gun. Forget the Confederate flag. Just stop going on about these things. Bloody hell. We've got drag racing going on.
Yeah, boy racing.
Oh, sorry, his YouTube video that he's watching is just...
Oops. Sorry, what?
Watching my car
just an advert.
I keep expecting Andrew to just one day go, goal! Oh, sorry.
Oops.
No, we get a couple of boy races. Every once in a while, it's quite funny. Sometimes they go so fast, it sets off the car alarms of like the hard cars. Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Okay, so let's end on something nice. Let's anything nice.
I saw a very funny thing. I mean, it is tinged with tragedy, but it was just. Again, it's just one of these things. You go, why can't you just be original? Why can't you be different? Why is it always the same? It was somebody in Russia who is, and I know we can obviously talk about the, let's say, issues within Russian government, within Russian policing, etc.
If you can call it that.
Yeah, but it was. I think he was arrested last year, and it was a short documentary that was released on BBC News about this guy who calls himself Viserion, who claims to be the second coming of Jesus.
From the name, I knew it wasn't going to go.
I knew it was going to be.
And he has 4,000. There's about 4,000 people living in this settlement, and he claims he can cure AIDS and cancer with a touch.
It's Trump.
But then with during one open Q&A he did in some town hall or whatever, someone was like, if you're the son of God, why can you tell me what the question is I've written on the inside of my pocket? And he was like, brilliant. I don't feel I need to do things to prove my
do not test
exactly. There was and it's just it's not even, you're not even trying anything new. No, it was just money. They don't need money, they can just live off the land. But if you're willing to donate to the to the construction of the main hall and whatnot, that would be just swell. one woman said she went in there one day to get like some food. They've just got this collectivism, it's all these bits and bobs. And they were just all there just stuffing their faces and throwing away food because they'd gorged themselves and so much. You'll be shocked to hear that he's been married twice with 6 children.
Yeah. Nobody's allowed sex apart from me.
I don't know if they fully went there, but his second wife was 19 when they got married. I think he was in his 40s or maybe 50s. She'd been actually living with them as a sort of adopted daughter from the age of 7, but then
gross.
He just abandoned his first wife.
So Woody Allen.
If you want to know more about this story, just go and watch the Jim Jones documentary on Netflix. It's basically the same thing.
They even had planet Nibiru is coming to crash into the Earth. This young woman who'd left the church, she was laughing as she was recounting the story, saying, I can't remember what day it was meant to be. And we were all told, we had to keep working hard and blah, blah, blah. And then nothing happened, and everyone went, and then all the church, propaganda was like, aha, this is proof that all our hard work means we've been saved, without kind of pointing out the fact that, well, what about the rest of the world? Wouldn't it just be you saved? And doesn't salvation also mean you are taken up to heaven? And then Viserion was like, actually, it was a test to see if you would believe me.
No.
You're like, why? It's just the fact. I mean, it's also very, I should say that, as we're laughing here, that there are allegations, because he was saying, no, you don't need medicine, you don't need this, it's all prayer and blah, blah, blah. And so apparently some adherents to the faith had lost children because things that were easily curable.
Well, this is the thing about the Gandhi that I had a problem with, where he let his wife die from appendicitis because he didn't want British doctors, like medicine, helping her.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, then she died.
There's lots of
she could have been saved,
things.
but she died. She could have been saved, but she died because he didn't want the doctors touching her. Then when he got sick, he flew to England and had medical care. So that's my thing of, let's not put people on a pedestal. They are people. And I never, talking about Flint thing, I never forgave him for that. I thought, your wife died. Forget you, and I know you did your thing. How do you reckon that as a human being, that you chose to let her die, and she chose to die because of, that's your word, yet you flew to England to have medical care here? Like that, you're basically a murderer, in my position. Like, that's how people that worshipped you died because they didn't want to go against your word. That could have been saved, and you said no, but let me actually fly to the country that you don't want to be a part of, and let me get medical care from them. I'll never forgive him for that. That's when people say Gandhi, it means nothing. Doesn't mean nothing.
There's a lot more with Gandhi if you look into.
No.
That's a whole other podcast.
No.
I'm saying there are a lot of very.
I judge people on the things you
Gandhi.
do. I said to you before, I don't. You couldn't make me do that. Doesn't matter what good things you do. You couldn't make me do that. And he could, apparently. He was happy to let his wife die. So, and that's fact. So there you go. Right. I thought we was going to end on something good.
Yeah,
you've got to save us.
I know, it's just annoying that Viserion had let people die. Otherwise, it would have just been like, we could all just point at.
Well, it's a cult. It's nothing to do.
Yeah.
It's almost you realise who he is when you think, well, there's no way he'd go for a Q&A. Because that's quite ballsy. You go, oh right, he's completely delusional.
That was in the early days. Then he was much more respected.
But yes, he's completely delusional. So he probably thinks, yeah, I can go nuts. Oh, hang on, it'd be like the Trump thing. Like if he got put on, you go, yeah, let me go and speak to the market. You go, no, you can't speak.
Let's not get started on QAnon because I've got a lot to say about that. But anyway, for another time.
Okay.
Some of us need to go to the toilet, so let's.
Oh, that's high.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah,
so we have to end the show. Okay, well, that's the show.
Note.
Yeah, we've ended on Gandhi and Trump and
trying to think.
Good luck with the bio there, Andrew. Right now, bio.
No. I've made notes of our rambling.
Okay. All right, well, we're going to let Charles go.
Okay.
So, Charles, you go to the toilet, and we'll end here. Cheers, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Cheers, everyone.
Take care.
Goodbye. I nearly hung up.
Here's your story, let's begin. The water's fine, come on, dive in. The future's here, it's right before your eyes. Step by step, you're on your way. You're welcome to a brighter day. Don't you know it feels good to be alive? You could be larger